This is section 2.1. You all have a handout for the notes. In this section, we are going to be translating verbal sentences, or English. We're changing English into algebra. So to get us started, we're going to talk about some key words, some words that you are familiar with. I think you guys went through this with Miss Quinn. In other words, can you identify some words that mean addition? So maybe you'll see this word in a sentence, you know, oh, that means to add. What's one? Plus. Stephen, what's another? That's what you were thinking? Some. Awesome. Some. What else?
And one.
And is not one.
So that's multiplication.
Actually, and is not anything. Anything else? There's more. Increased by. Have you heard that? Increased by. More than. Add. These are all examples of addition. Now this is not a complete list. This is just a list of some of the words that mean addition. Let's go to subtraction next. What type of words might mean subtraction?
Minus.
Minus. Iceland, is that what you were thinking, or do you have something else?
Decrease by.
Decrease by. See that?
Difference.
Difference. Good. Anything else? Less than. That's a good one. I would like for you to box in less than. Less than is what we call a turnaround word. I'm not sure if you've heard it called that before. But if I say 6 less than a number, that doesn't mean 6 minus x, does it? Less than is a turnaround word, which means you need to switch the order. Instead of being 6 minus x, what should it really be? X minus 6. So when I say turnaround word, that's what I mean. We just need to switch that order. There's actually another expression that we may use that's, we call it a turnaround word. You think
Taken from.
Yep, that's taken from. Usually taken from will be one. I see a lot of subtracted from. It's probably the same thing essentially. So let's write that down and also box it in. Subtracted from. And box that in so that you know that that's one of those turnaround words. Is there any other subtraction words that you can think of? All right, multiplication is next. What words mean that we're going to multiply?
Adding times.
Okay, times. What else?
Product.
Product, good. Times, products. How about multiplied by? And there's one more. It's a really short word.
Of.
Very good. subtraction ones were the only ones that are going to have the turnaround words. Usually there is one in addition, but we don't worry so much about that because addition is commutative. So our focus on the turnaround words is only in subtraction. We don't have to worry about that in any other operation. Let's look at division next. What are some words that might mean division?
Quotient.
Quotient, good one. Iceland, divided by. Quotient divided by. Anything else? Those are the two big ones. And new to us today, these are all things you probably talked about with Mrs. Quinn, correct? When you learned about the different operations, you writing the expressions. The new one today is going to be equals. Because all of our sentences today are going to be equations that we're going to write. So obviously equals, what are some things that we know? Is, that's a popular one. What else? Same or the same as. How about equivalent to? I'm going to say equal to as well. So what we're going to do now are utilize these words to help us write algebraic equations given a verbal sentence. So if you look at the next slide, we're going to read through each example and write our sentence. 7 times a number squared is 5 times the difference of k and m. 7 times a number squared. How would that look like?
7.
Go ahead. 7.
X squared.
7 times x squared is, what does that word is mean we're going to do? Equals 5 times, so multiplying by 5. What are we multiplying by 5? Well, the difference of k and m. So the difference of k and m, how does that look?
K minus.
Are we taking, minus sign there, are we taking 5 times k, or are we taking 5 times the difference?
The difference.
5 times the difference. Now we need to do something that shows that we need to do the subtraction before the multiplication. In order of operations, right now let's say do multiplication. What are you thinking, Emily? Around? Parentheses around k minus m. Now that says that we're going to take 5 times the difference. We need to first find the difference and then multiply by 5. I want to clean this up a little bit. That dot in there I know means multiplication, but we don't even need that in there. Let's write this as 7x squared equals 5 times the difference of k minus m. It's not incorrect with the dot, but let's just clean it up a little, make it a little bit nicer. Something else I just thought about. On the test, I saw some people were using x for multiplication. What does x represent in algebra? Yeah, it's a number, it's a variable. So please get away from using that x. I'll take the dot or the number next to the letter, but please don't use the x for times. How about the next one? 15 times a number subtracted from 80 is 25. 15 times a number, what does that look like, Jared?
15 dot.
15 times a number, what does that look like? 15 times
2.
Well, what a number, we don't want to just put in some random number. What do we use?
X.
X or in or some variable. Let's use that variable when they say a number. We don't know what number they want. It says subtracted from 80. What does subtracted from mean? Means subtraction. 80. What's wrong with what I have there, Dawson?
The 80 is supposed to be in front.
Why?
Because 15x is taken away from
Good. We're subtracting it from 80. We're taking it away from 80. Subtracted from is what type of word? A turnaround word. We have to switch the order. So let's rewrite this as 80 minus 15x. We keep going. It says is 25. What does is mean? Equals 25. Here we have 2 plus the quotient of a number and 8 is the same as 16. 2 plus, we know what that looks like. 2 plus the quotient. What does quotient mean?
It means the answer to a division problem.
Okay. So we're dividing. What are the two things that we are dividing?
A number and 8.
A number and 8. Now how do I know which one goes on top?
The one that's first.
The one that's first always goes on top. Go in order. N divided by 8. Is the same as indicates we have equal 16. We're not solving at this point. We're just setting up the equations. That's all we're doing today. Do one more with you. 27 times k is h squared decreased by 9. 27 times k. Hayden, what's that?
That's multiplication.
You got it. 27 k means equals h squared. That's h to what power? The second. H to the second power. Decreased by minus 9. If it was to the third power, what word might they use? Cubed. Or they might actually say to the power of 3 to the third power. Are there any questions on these verbal sentences that we've changed into algebraic sentences? Question? I am going to skip the next 2 examples on the back. I believe there's a couple more problems. We're going to skip those for the time being. I'm going to give you guys some time in class to work these problems. When you are finished, I would like for you to turn them in to me today. I'm going to grade them. If you have any corrections to make, I'm going to give them back to you for a second shot to make any corrections. Hopefully you won't have any like the first time. If there's any correcting to do, I'll give it back. You can correct it and turn it back in. The assignment is actually a little bit different than on the last slide. So let me change this for you. Same page number, but we're going to do numbers 1 through 8 and 11 through 14. Good question.
Can we just do it on the back of the
Yeah, that's fine. If you want to work on that paper that we did those 2 practice problems on, you can walk me to do it on there.